Hi, my name is Dr. Barnali Bhattacharya. I'm a consultant pediatrician in Pune, and my area of special interest is the lungs in the children. After my last video, which I posted, a lot of you asked some very interesting and very intelligent questions about COVID, and I am going to take them by and by and make multiple short videos. But one was, please, doc, tell us about COVID 19 in children. With my loyalty towards kids, I will first take on that video. So, COVID 19 in children, you see, in the first wave, we were not hearing so much about COVID 19 and children. Why so? Because our children were at home, there was no school, there still is no school. We were not sending them to play, we were not taking them out with us, we were not visiting people. But now, I think since November, the children were tiring being at home. I think the parents were also fed up of doing multiple things. They were running out of ideas, and we sent children to play with their mates. And what was happening is that it is an airborne disease, right? When the second wave started, one child in that play group is carrying COVID, is giving it to the whole group. The child probably stays asymptomatic but is coming home, and the parents or the grandparents are coming down with COVID. When they are screening, the child is also showing up as RT-PCR positive. Now, RT-PCR positive brings me to this, is that another reason why we are seeing so many in numbers high is that in the first wave, especially during the first few months, RT-PCR was not so easily available. But now, anybody where we are suspecting COVID-19, that's the gold standard, we are getting RT-PCR done. And the third thing is that we feel that the second wave mutant or variant is definitely much more infectious than the first wave. Whether it's more severe or not, time will tell, but it is definitely more infectious. Now, the good news is that in children, 90 to 95% have very mild COVID disease. They may be asymptomatic to having low-grade fever, mild cold cough, a little diarrhea. Some children have headache. Some may even have fatigue. So all that you need to do is monitor the temperature and only give paracetamol for fever in the dose given to you by your pediatrician. You do not need to give them any more medicines for fever. Paracetamol is good enough, and if the temperature is high, your doctor is anyway monitoring that for you. All that you need to do is probably do tepid sponging and nothing more than that. Sometimes parents say, oh, this fever is more or it's for more days. Can you please give us antibiotics? As you know, COVID-19 is a viral disease. Antibiotics truthfully has no role. And why are parents saying this? Because they are positive and their doctor is giving them azithromycin, doxycycline, ivermectin, and they feel, why should their child be deprived of all these medicines? No, they don't need it. Now, coming to the moderate disease, which is just 1 to 3% of children, here these are children who are having higher grade fever more than 4 days of duration, and the fever is still persisting. So we have to get them to monitor the temperature every 4 hourly. We have to teach parents to monitor the pulse ox every 4 hourly and teach them how to fix the pulse ox correctly, because if it's loose, it's going to show low readings. We have to tell them to check on the activity of a child. If a child is playful, active, alert, now also if the child is getting drowsy, and they can monitor all that with you at home. You can talk to the parents and you can do a video consultation and you can see the child right in front of you. The other thing, that the fifth thing that I get them, so temperature, pulse ox, activity, alert, and the fifth thing is the respiratory rate. Now the respiratory rate has cut-offs in children, which in these times it's worthwhile for all of us to know. Children less than 2 months, more than 60 per minute. 2 months to 12 months, more than 50 per minute. 1 year to 5 year, more than 40 per minute. More than 5 years, more than 30 per minute. And when you count the respiratory rate, is 1. So that's 2. Okay, so it's not up down, is counted as 1. So remember, to count the respiratory rate is important, because if pneumonia, if a child is going towards lung complication, particularly pneumonia in children, the respiratory rate is bound to get high. And of course, then you know that these are this 1 to 3%. Some of them might need hospitalization, not all. So we hardly need to hospitalize children, and 0.1% children might have severe form of disease. Those are the ones who might need ICU admission. So 0.1% of all the COVID children. Now you might hear of another thing called multisystemic inflammatory syndrome that comes in children. That is a post-COVID complication that can happen in children. Very few of them, and that generally comes after 2 weeks, and here the fever comes back and it is high. So any child who's post-COVID and has high fever doesn't need to have this. It could be other reasons too. And that is why it is important that be in touch with your doctor. Continue to do your video consultations. You needn't visit the clinic, because why move out of your home? Why expose the others? Why even expose the nurse, the secretary in the clinic, or the doctor to the bug, which can be done sitting at home? So I hope you found this talk about COVID in children interesting and informative. And before long, I will do some other videos for you about the COVID disease, taking the questions that are coming in from all of you. Thank you so much. I'll see you soon again. Thank you for watching. Bye.